Remember last season when we had the 2 best strikers in the Championship? I think this season we've got the 3 best strikers in the Championship. Hello and welcome to part 101 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have 2 games in... Actually, no, it's 1 game in the Championship and 1 cup game against Premier League opposition, because I want to test ourselves and see if we're any good against them. So we're away again. We have to play the game anyway. I'm showing it to you because I want you to see the test, if you get what I mean. We don't get... It's not an optional cup game. We're away against Derby, who are promotion rivals for unbeaten home, and then we're away against Premier League Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup, is it still called that? It's been so long since I've noticed it. League Cup, it's showing us on there. Since you were last with me, as you can see, we're unbeaten in all competitions this season. It's been a very nice start to the season. This is what the Championship League table looks like after 8 games. We're 3 points behind Middlesbrough, but we do have a game in hand on them. Yes, I mentioned our strikers being great. They're not noticeable on the top goal scorer thing. That's because we're rotating them so much, because Matondo has currently got 4 goals from 6. I don't need to open them up. I can look on here. Ollie Steer, 5 goals from 6. And Anthony Harris, 5 goals from 7. So they're not all playing all the games. They're rotating around because all 3 of them are brilliant. And also Matondo is classed as homegrown at the club because he's been here on loan so long now, which is excellent for if we end up signing him permanently at some point. But Steer was signed to be the Matondo replacement for this season, was probably felt a little bit hard done by that Matondo then stayed, but has forced his way into the team anyway, which is the mark of a superstar as far as I'm concerned. But this is the team we're putting out there to face Derby. We've got Humphreys in goal because we've got injuries going on. Where is he? Let's get these like out the way. Couple of injuries to tell you about, in fact. We've got Wharton, who is injured. He's done his cruciate ligaments. He's going to be done for the rest of the season. Watson was injured, although looking at that, it seems like he's better. I wonder if we should maybe bring Watson back into the team today. He hasn't played the last few games, but he is a lot better than Humphreys. He has been injured, hasn't he? This is what happens when I play the game late at night. So he was injured, but then I've been playing him. So what reason did Late Night Kev have for putting Humphreys back in for this game? I'm sure he had a reason. I'm sure it was a lovely reason. But Late Night Kev, if you don't leave me notes, I'm going to correct your mistakes for you the next day. We're going with Watson in goal. A back four of Wearmouth, Rogers, McLeish and Gregson, with Harrison at the base of the midfield, Fernandez and Sawinski, just the midfield forever. That's Holmes midfield forever. And then Moss in behind. Steer and Matondo today. So Anthony Harris is going to sit on the bench with Sir Mick Powell. A couple of people have asked why Mick Powell hasn't really been featuring at all this season. Well, it's because he's our 5th choice striker now. We've still got Marsh at the club, remember? Although Marsh is very quickly doing his extra homework, learning to be an attacking midfielder, because we don't have another option behind Moss now. Sawinski would be our next choice. But with Wharton out for the season, we kind of need to retrain one of these 5 strikers that we've got. And Marsh feels like the one who's going to be missed the least up front, so he can be our backup attacking midfielder. Let's do that one. We have been getting a lot of praise recently because we've been playing very well recently. So Marsh is retraining and hopefully will emerge as a decent attacking midfielder. But it does mean Sir Mick Powell, I don't know, how do I get him into the bench? How do I get him into the team? If it wasn't for nostalgia, then we'd have sold him 3 years ago. He is still at the club. We will keep giving him contracts. I want him to have a testimonial, mainly because I think it'll bring Dean Morris back. But he ain't good enough to play, is he? He's Mick Powell. He's a conference player who's... he does weigh in with an important goal every now and again, because he's still a big game player. But Derby away, he's probably not a big enough game for Sir Mick Powell. So he'll just look out of his depth and not do anything, which is... That's the Mick Powell we see more often than not. Look, I'm sorry, Mick. He's sat here just having to take all this, still smiling, bless him. I'm very sorry. I'll cover your ears next time I talk about you. Go sit back. That's classic Mick Powell. Sat next to non-league Kev. So that's back when me and Mick Powell were good buddies before it all went wrong. I carried on getting better. Mick. I carried on getting better. Right. Unlucky boys. But let's go win this game in the second half. What is going on with Wearmouth? What on earth? How can we... I need to see a replay of the kickoff. Can we see this? Is that going to go back? Is that gone too far? He's just rolling around at kickoff. Why has he gone out there for the second half? I'm baffled. Presumably we have to take him off now. Oh look, he's injured. Potential lower leg injury. Could have mentioned it at half time, Mark. We'll bring Teasdale on, I guess. Can either of you two play left back? Doesn't really look it. Joy. That was utterly ridiculous. How do we get back? Are we back up to full speed now with the game? I think we are. Fernandez to Matondo. Plays Steer in. Steer goes past his man. Tries to cut it back across goal, but the angle was just a little bit too tight for him. There's been some moments in this series, this season, but I think when all is said and done, the Wearmouth rolling around at kickoff, not kickoff after a goal even, kickoff at the start of the second half, he's rolling on the floor. I think that's going to be in the highlight reel, which I'm hoping someone else will put together for me, because I can't rewatch it 150 episodes when all is said and done to pick out the highlights. But that should be one. Someone mark that, clip that. Can we do that here on YouTube yet? Clip it, somebody. Right, Rogers to Steer. We need to get back into this game now. Teasdale playing on the wrong wing, which is, it's probably going to confuse him quite a lot. Neither of my right backs are both good at running up and down the right hand side and crossing, but I think they'll both be a little bit confused having to do it on the other wing. So I could have brought the Stig on, play him at left back, get our money's worth on him. Rogers now. I think Rogers can play left back actually, so there is a strong argument that I had the opportunity to bring the Stig on and I chose not to, which expect that to be a theme this season for our all-time record signing. We were unbeaten going into this, and then even the first half went quite well. Mark Wearmouth has ruined it for me. He's distracted me from what's going on, and now it's all gone a little bit wrong. And we need to turn this around quite quickly. Anthony Harris feels like the man to come on and do that. Moss is also not playing well. I'm going to take Gregson off and shuffle the defence around again. We are going to bring the Stig on. There we go. We'll shuffle it around to that. What type of defender do you want to be? A defendy defender. Sounds good to me. Right, this is now like watching past Kev, night before Kev, late night Kev, pass over to this Kev in real time. The doorbell went while I was making the substitutions. I went and got a parcel. I've sat back down thinking, why have I just made 3 substitutions in the 60th minute? I know we're not playing very well. That seems like it's asking for trouble. Let's demand more. Derby are a good side. They're not a side we necessarily would be banking on an away win against, but we've just not been very good in this game. Although, to be fair, looking at the stats, we've not been too bad. We've just not been very prolific in front of goal where they have. They're mugging us officially. Bit of old school Kev. All the different flavours of Kev are coming out on today's video. McLeish, just get rid of the ball. And now Watson, get it further forward. Back to McLeish. Brilliant. Watson. Not Watson. That was McLeish. I don't know the names of my own team. Fernandez plays it into Steer, who finds Moss. What a goal from Nick Moss. And with 7 minutes to go, we're back in with a shout, boys and girls. Let's have 10 minutes of passion to finish things off. And hopefully somebody, somewhere in this team, is going to weigh in with an equaliser, and all will be forgiven for the disaster that has been really 15 minutes at the start of the second half of this game is where it all went wrong. Either side of it, we've been quite good. Wearmouth ruined it for us. That might be it for him. He might never play again. He's ruined the match for me. Harris crosses, can't find a green shirt. Fernandez plays it out to Rogers. Rogers can't get the crossover. We've got 15 seconds left and we don't have the ball. And there's the Stig. There you go. Record siding the Stig. What a tackle. It's too little too late, but it was a good tackle. You can't argue that it was a good tackle. Right, we were poor there. It's our first league defeat of the season. At least you got to witness it. And now we can go and test ourselves against Premier League opposition. That feels a much less enticing prospect. Now we're not an unbeaten team anymore. Well, a couple of changes because it's a cup game, nothing major. Humphreys has come back in for Watson because Humphreys is our cup goalkeeper. We're now a big enough club to have a cup goalkeeper, I think. Bradley comes in for Wearmouth because Wearmouth is... I'm done with him, the idiot. McCrory comes in for Harrison because... why not? McCrory might be the long-term solution at defensive midfield. I like McCrory there. I think he's playing really well in that position, and it does justify having the Stig if McCrory's actually a defensive midfielder and not a centre-back. And we've also got Harris and Matondo reunited up front. Steers actually dropped off of the bench entirely to make room for Drew Whalen, who, again, he's another one who he's been a cup player for me. He's looked quite decent in the cup games that he's played. Although I feel like I'm dreaming one because I remember him scoring goals. He must have just played well and not actually scored goals. Looking at that, he didn't even play well. Maybe I'm thinking of a friendly. He was good anyway, and I want to see how much better he's got. So he's going to sit on the bench, and he'll be fine. We'll bring Whalen and Samick Powell on at half time, and we'll be absolutely sorted. Right. Let's get into the game. We are the underdogs. A good old-fashioned underdogs team talk. Bournemouth presumably still have a tiny ground, I guess. I don't know if they've got a bigger one now we're further into the future, but I've not been to Bournemouth's ground and its current guise, but I've been to was it the old ground or is it the same place before it was rebuilt? I've been to see Posh away at Bournemouth loads of times. Matondo's just put us 1-0 up after 3 minutes. 5th goal of the season for Matondo. Their goalkeeper is probably going to be feeling a little bit silly around about now. Not Mark Wearmouth silly, but still pretty silly all the same. This is just very poor. Matondo didn't even need to take a touch. The keeper's just set it up so nicely for him. Yeah, I'll just finish it from there. Thanks. 1-0 to Holme. Excellent. And we've got a corner and it's with Harris. Still only 5 minutes on the clock. And we look a little bit more like the Holme that I'm used to in the first 5 minutes of this game, in that we're doing all the attacking. Oh, for goodness sake, I'm not having any joy with fullbacks today, am I? We've got little tellies in England now. Oh, I get enough of this in the other series. I don't want little tellies. What's happening? Are we giving a penalty or not? Hopefully not. It's a free kick. I love these little tellies. Are great. We should have them in all matches, in all competitions. They're just very, very good. I like them a lot. Still 1-0 after nearly 20 minutes. We've actually played really quite well in this first minutes. I don't know how strong this Bournemouth side is. It could be that they're playing a reserve team, but Bournemouth, bit of a surprise package of the home universe, in that they've pretty much been regulars in the Premier League all the way through the entire series. And I don't think that's a situation that normally happens in Football Manager. I think normally they drift out of the Premier League fairly early on and go back to being typical good old-fashioned lower league Bournemouth the way they're supposed to. But I think they had one season where they dropped out of the Premier League, went straight back up again. But other than that, they've been a mid-table Premier League team for 10 or 15 years in this universe, which seems mad. I'm trying to think of an equivalent from real life who they might be, but all of the ones I'm thinking of have been relegated in the last few years. Who's your typical 10 or 15 year mid-table Premier League team in real life now that probably shouldn't actually be there, but they've been overperforming for years? Answers on a postcard or the comments section, whichever you prefer. If you do want to put an answer on a postcard, my PO box address is down in the description as well. So genuinely, whichever you prefer, postcard or comments, but they're the only two places. I don't want to hear about mid-table Premier League teams on Twitter. Postcard or comments. Right, Bradley plays the ball forward for Harris to chase on. So I think this is just a kick-off highlight, and to prove it, Harris kicked off. Just lovely stuff. The drilling outside has stopped. I've been so used to it and not being able to hear myself speak that I hadn't even noticed that it stopped. Has it been on at any point during this video, or did it just ruin today's non-league to legend? Oh, that's beautiful. I can hear birds singing. Oh, wonderful stuff. Right, we're still ahead in this game. Bournemouth don't feel like they're bothered by it, really, which I guess they're not. If I was a mid-table Premier League team, the last thing I'd want is a cup run. What is that attendance? I was thinking away against a Premier League team, there could be some money coming in. Not that money's as much of an issue with us anymore. We've got over 5 million in the bank now. But I thought we might get a big chunk, but that's almost as pathetic as our attendance is. We've taken more people away to Bournemouth in a cup game that no one cares about than we used to get at our home games in the conference. We're really making some progress as a club. Humphreys, that's some poor goalkeeping. No, he's not making progress as a club. He'll remember when we were in attendances smaller than that. He was playing, well, he was sitting on our bench down in the conference, but he looks like a conference backup keeper there. Let's get Harris off. There you go. We'll have a look at Drew Whalen, who is, I don't know why he reverted back to being that when we all know he's that. Moss isn't playing well. I think I'm going to push Sawinski forward. We'll bring Knowles on and get Sawinski some game time in behind the front two as well. Gregson's also having a poor game, but I'm not that desperate to take him off. I think that mainly, we've just been sliced open twice there. Bournemouth haven't been bothered the whole game, and then they've just stepped it up. I don't want to see replay. They've stepped it up a gear twice and just put us in our place, reminded us that we're not as good as we might think we are. This has been a reality check episode. I was convinced we were going to romp to the league title this year and everything was going to be good, but we struggled against Derby. We looked solid in this game until they've literally just turned it up a gear in the last minute, and we're now 3-1 down. And I don't understand. Gregson and Bradley both now having terrible games. I guess at this point I do have to bring Teasdale on, but I don't understand how that's happened. We've just been thumped from nowhere there. They've got a player who scored a hat-trick despite not being... He wasn't even aware of I didn't know he existed in the first half. Here's his fourth. Humphreys finally remembers he's allowed to use his hands. Oh, so we're playing those rules today, are we? Okay, I'll use my hands then. McCrory plays it forward to no one in particular, and I'm ready for this match to be over now. Our cup run's over. We didn't even get... I think we were all just demoralised when we saw at half-time how few people were here and that we weren't getting a sack of cash. What's the point of having a cup run if you're not going to make any money from it? It's just unnecessary extra games. And there is his fourth goal. He has ripped us apart, whoever he is. We might have to have a little look at him. Carl Hartridge. Oh, good. We go 94 minutes on the clock and we're going over to the little telly again. It was disallowed, but pick your moments, for goodness sake. Carl Hartridge is 25 years old. We've actually scouted him previously. That seems a little bit ambitious on the part of our scouts. But he's... that's some interesting context. Valued at £40 million. We've just seen what he's done to us. He's slightly better than Anthony Harris. I don't think we need to be buying strikers anytime soon. There you go. We've scouted him. And he ruined us. I don't want to do a team talk. I just want to go home. That was a awful episode. Oh, my word. We need to get back to... We need promotion this season. Let's see when we're going to come back for the next video. Come on, just show me the fixtures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Anything good around here? Middlesbrough were top of the league, weren't they? So we'll do probably Middlesbrough and Cardiff. Sorted. That will be tomorrow's video. And we'll win those games. We need to get back to winning ways. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.